Okay guys, now this video I'm probably going to make it a separate video because I believe this man deserves to have a little bit of his story told, and he deserves his own right to be recognized, and not for just being killed by Bonnie and Clyde. Well, Clyde. This is the grave of John Wesley Harryman. He was Constable Harryman. He was born here January 21st in 1891 in Joplin. He was elected to Shoal Creek Township Constable in November of 1932. Now, when I looked some things up about him. It was hard to find a lot of information. I used a lot of ancestry sites to find some things about him so I could make a video in honor of him, because he was the first one that was shot and killed. He bled out after he walked into the garage and Clyde shot him directly with a shotgun. It hit him in the neck, in the shoulder, and I believe the face. And he bled out really quick. And he has a really sad story. Well, to me it is. It's heartbreaking because this man, he was elected constable. And now on a couple different sites I found different numbers of how many children he actually had. But this man, he was a constable. He was elected. He was not a detective. He wasn't a member of the force. He wasn't like a major officer, you know. Basically what this constable did was they would go serve warrants and they'd get, you know, a couple dollars a check. He was doing this as a supplement because he was a farmer. And I read he had 8 or 9 children. There was conflicting reports on that number, so I believe it was 9. I know he had a few that passed away in really young, like within their year that they were born. He was 42 when he was killed, and this was when he was killed. It was his 4th month on the job, and he lived in Newton, Missouri for over 20 years. Now, I don't think Bonnie and Clyde, they should not be celebrated as, you know, heroes or anti-heroes, and I read a lot of people saying that, and I totally agree. They should not. They were criminals. Clyde was a murderer, and I don't mean to offend his family in any way by saying that, but, you know, that he killed people. He shot and killed people. Now, as far as Bonnie, I might make another video about that, because there's so much stuff that I've researched and everything like that, but I wanted to make a trip out here and pay my respect to this man, because, you know, he had 8 kids, 7 or 8 kids. I'm not sure how many he had at the time, if that's how many were alive, just because of their dates, and I read some of them died pretty early. But this man, he was just trying to provide for his family, you know, and he only made a couple dollars off of each warrant that they served. And I don't understand why, when they went up there, why an officer would tell him to get out and shut the door. It just doesn't make sense to me. I need to do a lot more research and find out why. But you would figure, I don't know if he was even armed. Like, I didn't see anything about him being armed or anything, which it wouldn't have mattered, because as soon as he walked through that door, Clyde got him with a shotgun. But this was his wife, Athea, and I don't know if he has any more relatives. I would assume so. This is Eunice and Bertie Harryman, 1924 to 31. Oh, that must be, I'm betting this is his children, because 1920 to 1920, I read one passed away, so this is his children right here. I'm not going to step on their grave. Hearing some weird sounds, but yeah, this is 2 of his children. Sounds like a train. But yeah, I wonder, the guy deserves to be recognized, because he was just doing his job. He was trying to provide for his family, and he was unjustly killed. And all he was doing was serving a warrant, you know. And as soon as he walked through that door, it was terrible. And not his partner, but the other officer that was in the car with him, Officer McGinnis, he got out and he went and shot through the windows on top of the apartment, which in my other videos you'll see the door, the top of the garage doors that he shot through. And he he got blasted with a shotgun too, but his was a lot worse. I won't say it's not a lot worse, but it was pretty bad. He got his arm blown almost off, if not all the. I think it was just blown partially off, but it was bad from what I read. It was terrible. And that man, when he was laying there dying on the ground, he was just asking about Harryman. After it was all said and done and Bonnie and Clyde split, he was asking, "How's Harryman? How's Harryman?" You know, and that shows the kind of honor these guys had, and the care for one another that they had. Is he was worrying about Harryman, which, you know, Harryman bled out quick, so he was dead. And the other officers, Kaler and Taylor, they just told him he's going to make it. He's just going to have to go to the hospital. And sadly, McGinnis would die shortly after at the hospital, I believe. But this man was just trying to provide for his family, his kids. He was a farmer. He wasn't a lawman. For the most part, he probably didn't even have a gun. And he was just trying to figure out what was going on. And just a terrible story. And I believe he was a veteran, if I remember right. So there is a flag down there, but I don't know. Bonnie and Clyde, men like this, like Harryman, Constable Harryman, and McGinnis, and all the other cops that were shot by Bonnie and Clyde, well, not Bonnie, but Clyde, you know, these are the people that need to be remembered, because Clyde was a criminal, he was a murderer, and he was a thief, and he did a lot of bad things. And I agree with the people that are arguing with this, with people making them to be anti-heroes, and how the movie made them to be out to be anti-heroes. They really weren't. They were just criminals, you know? I'm going to walk over here and see if I can find more. See, April 1920, he died, that might be his father, George Harryman. And he was obviously a veteran. I think that he died in 1929. That could have been a father, a brother, maybe a brother. His father wouldn't be in the war around the same time they died. That's probably a brother. 1864 to 1927, Christina. And maybe that was his parents. I'm not sure. I'll have to go dig deep into this. Walk up here because I see a name that might be familiar. Tipton. He was one of the. That's not him. He was one of the officers that knew Bonnie and Clyde. But yeah, this is his family. I don't know the relations because I didn't dig that deep. I just dug into, try to find as much about John that I could. But yeah, this man that was just trying to earn $1 for his family, you know, that's honorable what he was doing. He was being a farmer and a constable. And during that time, during the Depression, things were bad. And this honorable man gave his life just trying to do his job to earn $1, another $1 or two to, you know, maybe feed his family, put more things on the table to eat. And I do agree with the people that say that these people need to be recognized more, and I fully agree. And I don't mean to act like I'm putting Bonnie and Clyde up on a pedestal or anything, because I'm not. I don't agree with what they did. It's just, you know, I enjoy history and learning about things and finding out why people would do the things they did, what led them down their path that they did, and that's what I am intrigued about when I learn more about Bonnie and Clyde. So, Mr. Harryman, I hope you're resting well, and I hope you're resting with your family, and you guys lived a happy life when you finally all met at the gates of heaven. We're doing an honorable thing that any man would do, that I would do anything, multiple jobs to keep your family fed, and you should be proud. And I hope your family was proud that you were just doing your job, trying to provide for them. So that's it, guys. And now we're going to head to probably Nevada and check out Officer McGinnis's final resting place as well. Okay, guys, we are here in Nevada, Missouri at Deepwood Cemetery, and we're going to visit the final resting place of Harry McGinnis. He was one of the officers that was killed in the Joplin Shootout. between law enforcement and Bonnie and Clyde. Now this is Mr. Harry McGinnis. Now, if you remember right, he was the second officer that was killed in the gun battle at the apartment in Joplin, and he was hurt pretty bad. Like, his arm was just dangling. Apparently, from what I've read, it was pretty bad. It was almost shot off, and I wanted to make sure we come and pay our respects to him and give a little bit about his story. And again, like John Harryman, I couldn't find a ton of info about him, but I did find some by using some ancestry sites and things like that and looking at some articles online. So, Harry McGinnis, he was born October 7th, 1879 in Nevada. It says his wife's name was Catherine Mace, and they were married October 31st, 1906, but this says Tilly. Unless her nickname was Tilly, her grave, because it says right here, wife of Harry McGinnis. So I believe I did read that she did die before him. Okay, that makes sense. So her nickname must have been Tilly, but her name was Catherine Mass, and they were married on August 31st, 1906. So that must be, Robert here must have been their child. But anyway, he lived in Joplin, Jasper, St. Louis, and roughly 10 years each, I believe, from what I read. If not, I'm not sure on that number because it said 10 years, and I don't know which city he lived in for 10 years. But he lived in Joplin, Jasper, St. Louis. And his father was actually a Vernon County sheriff here in Nevada, because that's the county that Nevada's in. At 38, he was a chauffeur. He was listed as a chauffeur. And he died at age 53, and he had 8 years on the police force when he died. And he was roughly around 45 when he actually got out of the apartment. So, yeah, it was pretty brutal after he was shot. Like I said in the other videos, he had severe damage from his elbow up. He was shot in the chest. I believe he was shot in the chest and the face too. And he was shot by a shotgun, so I assume Clyde shot him, or it was W.D. Jones that shot him. And he laid in front of that right side of that garage door until everything was done, and Bonnie and Clyde, sped out of there. And when they went to him, when Kaler and Taylor went up to check on him and see if he was okay, and all he was doing was asking about Harryman. And again, like I repeated before, he lied to him just to do the right thing, to make sure he thought he helped him, because he did jump out of the car and shoot at Bonnie and Clyde, and he hit W.D. Jones. So he was trying to save Harryman's life, even though he didn't know he almost died instantly after he bled out, because he bled out really quick. But what an honorable man, he was in bad shape, and he just worried about Harryman, super, super honorable. And that's why I'm doing this video for both of them by themselves, without anything really related to Bonnie and Clyde, because these guys deserve to be recognized more than they did, because Clyde killed these two men. And I believe Clyde killed both of them. I assume he killed McGinnis, because I'm pretty sure they said W.D. Jones was in a bad spot, so Clyde must have shot him. Or Buck could have shot him too. I cannot remember exactly the detail on that, and I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, this is Officer Harry McGinnis. He lives not very far from, or he's buried not very far from me. So I figured we would come out and pay our respects to him and his wife. I'll have to go home and look too. I believe this just says Robert, so I just assume that's his son. That probably died stillborn or something like that, because there's no date on here at all. It just says Robert. So I'm assuming that's probably a child that passed away during birth, or right after, because there's no date on there at all. So I might try to see if I can find anything out about that. But like I said, it was kind of hard finding a lot of info on these guys. Like I said, I used ancestry sites for the most part to try to find things about them, because I just wasn't finding anything, and I sure as heck wasn't going to use Wikipedia, because I never use Wikipedia for information. I don't trust it. So he was born in 1879. Wait, was that? Yeah, so that was right. 1879. So they were born in 1842. I wonder if this was a brother. And he died in 1890. 1842, 1879. I wonder if this was a brother. Or a father. Could be the father. I wonder if there's actually... Okay, hang on a second. There's more on this side. Robert, son of W.B. Okay, so I think there's two people buried here. There's two people buried here. Robert... I'm not sure about this because there's a Robert down there, but he died... He was born May 20th, 1881, died July 22nd, 1881. I can't see that. Yeah. So there's two people buried here. It says a relative of him, but I'm not sure. It could be his father, I guess. 40, 50. Yeah, it's probably his father. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That could be his father. He was a Mason, I see. But yeah, this poor man, he just... That's what sucked about that. These guys did not know who they were messing with, and they did not know what they were walking into when they did it. Like I said, they thought they were car thieves or bootleggers, and they wouldn't have known that they had BARs in that garage and shotguns, and yeah, just a bad deal. Hopefully he's resting well, and he's with his wife, so I'm sure she met him at the gates of heaven, you know. They were together, and it's really tragic what happened to this man. All he was doing his job, again, like Harryman. He was trying to provide for himself, because I don't think he had children. I'm pretty sure he didn't. Unless he was, like I said, a stillborn, because I don't know who this Robert is. I'll have to go back and look at the family grave, but rest in peace, sir, and thank you for trying to stop Bonnie and Clyde, you know. Just sad that he gave his life trying to do the right thing. Margaret Atchison, 1851. McGinnis Atchison. Must be family. Alright guys, and that's it for our trip to Nevada to find Officer McGinnis and his family and pay tribute to him. So we'll see you guys later.